message. Thank you, Ms. Knott. You may go ahead.
Yes, let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today, giving you thanks for the breath of life. We are here in this new year of learning and the bountiful blessings. Thank you for the opening department, the organizers, presenters, and faculty in offering these online teaching and learning training sessions. God, we ask that the knowledge gained will be applied to the professions at UB and to the students as well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And thank you very much, Mrs. Knott. A pleasant good morning and Happy New Year once again to all of you who are present here. I'm thrilled to kick off this exciting journey this morning with you all, and it's an honor to introduce someone who really needs no introduction, our very own Director of Open Learning, Dr. Bethel, a true innovator and advocate for using ICT technology to help us reach our professional goals, pedagogical as well as academic goals. Dr. Bethel will soon share insights about the Department of Open Learning. But before he comes, I'd just like to quickly go over some housekeeping tips for our Zoom sessions. We want to remind you to keep your microphones muted unless you are speaking to keep the audio clear for everyone to hear. Additionally, you are welcome to use the chat at your leisure, as well as feel free to use the raise hand feature of the Zoom platform if you would like to make a comment or have a question. Our team members will be monitoring the chat if you have any questions, so you could feel free to drop them there. Stay engaged during all sessions. Try to use emojis to let us know that you're on the next end. We do have breaks in between sessions. We asked that we try to acknowledge the time so that we could try our best to stay on track with time. And again, I just want to say that this meeting is being recorded for training purposes as well as to share with other faculty. So it is important also to know that except for the 2-day Norton training, the Zoom link remains the same. If you're ever unsure, you can contact or reach out to any member of Open Learning. We'll be sure to make sure you get the link. Now, without further delay, please let's give Dr. Bethel a rousing virtual applause so that he can truly feel welcome on this second day of January 2025. Go ahead, Dr. Bethel.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Robinson, and good morning to everyone. When reviewing the schedule, at first I was saying that we were crazy to anticipate that you, the faculty members, would be willing to participate in this training session taking place as it is the very day after New Year celebrations. But I'm really excited, happy, and pleased to see so many of you committing to this and turning out in the great numbers as you are. Mrs. Knott, I've made you the co-host of the meeting because I noticed that there was still some people popping into the waiting room. So if you see some people popping into the waiting room while I'm making my presentation, please just go ahead and let them in. So good morning again, everyone, and a happy and blessed 2025 to you all. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this inaugural training session for 2025, the first, we hope, of many. We will be distributing a calendar of events for the Open Learning Department within the next 2 weeks, so you can easily reference what will be going on in the department and register for those activities accordingly. In the Department of Open Learning, we have a very simple and clear mission and mandate to expand access to quality higher education for those traditionally excluded because of geography, scheduling, price, disability, or any combination of the above. This means that we are continuously exploring new ways of delivering high quality learning to learners who are unable to sit in our traditional classrooms for one reason or another. Online courses are one important solution to the accessibility issue, as this enables our learners to access our courses anytime, anywhere, and on any device, provided they have a reliable internet connection. As a result, we are continuously seeking to provide access to courses by migrating them from face-to-face to online delivery. This means we must ensure that our courses are built to the highest industry quality standards and that we take advantage of all the online instructional resources at our disposal. With regard to the quality standards, therefore, we in the department, along with the Office of Academic Affairs, have developed quality standards both for our courses themselves and for our instructors delivering the online content. We won't go into detail about this now. There will be events further on down the year that delve more deeply into the online teachers' competencies and the online courses quality criteria. So in order to ensure this quality, though, we are committed that all of our online faculty, whether they be course builders or course instructors, are given the tools and the skills to put these online resources to the best uses. We're fortunate that we're not alone in this mission. Textbook publishers and other learning content developers recognized some time ago the need to transition from paper-based products to digital. Initially, this meant that these learning resources could now be delivered and accessed digitally, but even then, they were only static files, usually PDFs to be downloaded and read. In the second phase of digitization, learning resources were migrated to digital-first formats, meaning that this content could be embedded directly into learning management systems, LMSs, like Moodle, so readings and learnings could be integrated directly into the learning content. We're now into the third phase, where digital content publishers have enhanced the digital content with interactive learning exercises, quizzes, activities, and other digital products that reinforce and drive learning. All this content and interactive learning can and will be integrated with our LMS. And this brings us to this 4 days of training that we're at now. What we seek to do in the next 3 or 4 days is to provide you with the tools and skills to use those e-textbook publisher content, activities, and quizzes and embed them directly into your LMS courses. We are now using 6 e-textbook publishers and are looking to expand this year to at least 2 additional ones, as we know that many of you are seeking to move to digital delivery, even though your classes may be face-to-face. For the upcoming sessions then, please, we ask you to sign up if you haven't already for those publishers that you're using in your courses. Try out some of the others, explore some of the other titles, because our publishers are continuously looking to recruit new instructors to use their materials, and give us feedback on how we can improve these training sessions, how we can provide training in other areas that are relevant to your online instruction, and what we are doing well in terms of providing you with capacity building exercises. So we ask you then to remember our initial mission, that is of providing greater access to high quality tertiary education, and use these sessions to make sure that your online courses and that your online content that facilitate deeper learning in your face-to-face courses do further our mission of expanding access. And we look forward to hearing from you not only after these sessions, but throughout the semester to see how well these courses have enabled our faculty, our students to improve their learning. Once again, welcome. We look forward to delivering these sessions, and we look forward for you, our faculty members, to give us great feedback on how we've done in this learning exercise. Have a great few days, and I turn it back over to Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we please give Mr. Dr. Bethel a round of applause for that wonderful introduction to who we are and what we do and what we expect to do here in open learning, because it's very important for everyone to understand our role, a very important role as we catapult into the future. So I just want to let you know what you can look forward to this today as well as tomorrow, and then I would close with a vote of thanks. So if you have not had a chance to look at the flyer that we shared previously today, right after this session, we're going to have the retail manager of Chapter One Bookstore, Ms. Italia Cash, talk about digital keys to success. Because as we begin various courses this semester, there is this portion where we need these digital keys, where it might be course keys, or students may need course codes. And so Ms. Cash sorts all of that out for you. After that, we would have Dr. Bethel talking a little bit more about Open Learning's vision and how faculty can get involved with helping us execute those vision futuristically. Thereafter, we will have a session entitled App Savvy Teaching, Boost Student Engagement on Mobile Devices, where we're just going to share some things that might prove to be helpful for you as you get ready to begin the new semester, how to engage the students who are on the go, learning on the go. And then lastly, then we break for we break for 12 for lunch, and then we come back at 1, and we have Cengage, who will be working with us, talking about their products for beginners. Okay.
Learn 2024. Learn? Because I don't.
Okay, Ms. Hepburn, your microphone is open. I don't know if you are aware of that.
I'm so sorry. Good morning.
That's okay. All right. So this is just what you can look forward to today. We're using the same key. The same password, the same Zoom password, the same Zoom link throughout today. Okay. So you would just utilize that same link for all of the sessions today. All right. With that said, somebody's microphone is up. Thank you. With that said, I just want to, first of all, thank Mrs. Knott for opening our session, our training session, with a prayer. And of course, Dr. Bethel, we thank you for your introduction to who open learning is, or what open learning is, and what we seek to do, so that the audience can have a really good picture on our role here at the university in that capacity. And of course, I would like to thank all 39 of you who are actually here waiting to hear from Ms. Cash this morning. This is going to be an amazing 4 days. I hope we're ready to learn a lot in order to execute a lot. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so that is great. Ms. Italia Cash, you can let us know when you are ready. And I would ask Dr. Bethel to introduce Ms. Cash for our next session whenever Ms. Cash is ready. Yes, the session is being recorded. And as a way of a reminder, I just want to encourage you all to please keep your microphones muted unless you're actually speaking, to keep the audio clear. Do use the raise hand tool, emojis. We love the engagement, as well as we are recording. So you can always get the recording back, okay? So Ms. Cash is ready. Dr. Bethel, can you introduce her for me?
Good morning, everyone. Once again, now let me just ensure that Miss Cash has the necessary permissions. before I do introduce her. Okay, excellent. So, good morning again, everyone, and welcome to our sessions. 3 or 4 years ago, we had an institutional mission to expand the ways that we can, as an institution, raise revenue and expand our or increase our financial security here at the institution. We sought to do many different things to increase our financial revenue other than just by raising fees. And an office was created to drive this economic development in the institution. It's my pleasure then to welcome Ms. Atalia Cash, who is the head of business development here at the institution, as well as being, and one of the aspects of that is to oversee all activities involving the bookstore that is relevant directly to what we're doing today. Ms. Cash has streamlined and expanded our revenue generation here at the university. And so in addition to the bookstore, she also is in charge of ensuring anything where you are actually paying money or using your debit card here on campus, such as Independence Cafe, Grab and Go, etc. And I just want to make this plug. If you are having an event here on campus, please think first of asking Independence Cafe and the Business Development Unit to cater those events. Without further ado, though, please let me ask you to welcome Ms. Cash as she leads us in discussing how we can use our e-textbook codes to enhance our online courses. Ms. Cash, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bethel. Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone on the call. I did have the opportunity to skim through the attendees to the session, and I noticed quite a few of my, I won't say favorite lecturers, but quite a few lecturers that I have had the pleasure of working along with for the past, I'd say, 4 years or so. And so while many of you may be familiar with the information that I am going to present, I will go ahead and present it for those persons who may not be entirely familiar with e-textbooks and access codes and how they work along with your courses and how to have your students utilize them moving forward. So we'll begin with the question, what is an access code? An access code is an alphanumeric password that is issued by the various publishing houses that allows students to gain access to the textbook to the course and any other course materials that the lecturer allows on the publisher's learning management system. And so some of you may be familiar with MindTap. You may be familiar with, well, MindTap is by Cengage. You may be familiar with MyLab by Pearson. Those are some of the most popular learning management systems that I know quite a few of you are working along with. Why do we use access codes? As Dr. Bethel would have mentioned, in addition to seeking to increase revenue for the university, access codes also offer our students day one access to your material. So you no longer have to sit back and wonder, is chapter 1 bringing the book in? Is the shipment going to be on time? Will my students be able to afford this textbook, etc.? Students will have day one access to your course material, which should allow for seamless teaching, etc. Of course, you would enhance the student experience. We know that I'm a millennial, so we know that this group of students, Gen Z and beyond, were basically born with technology in their hands. And so you're enhancing their student experience by meeting them where they are with their course materials. And of course, most of the platforms are very easy to use and can be integrated with Moodle. And of course, the Office of Open Learning has been very instrumental in helping faculty members set all of that up and setting up the training sessions, which we'll be going through for the next 4 days. The university's process when it comes to access codes is one that I try to get faculty and staff members to understand from the beginning of the semester. When students register for courses that have access codes attached or that use access codes, they are automatically billed for the access code. So if I'm a student registering for Math 140, when I register for that class and the tuition is charged, I am also charged $90 for the use of the access code for this semester. This means that students then expect to have access to the material that the access code allows them access to, right? Which means that while the bookstore does their job when it comes to releasing access codes to students at the end of deregistration, lecturers must also ensure that their courses have been set up on the learning management system. If this is not done, then students won't have access to the courses and there will be a whole bundle of confusion going on. So to assist with this process, what the bookstore does is at the beginning of every semester, we write to the publishers and we say, here is a list of lecturers teaching CISP 106. These are their email addresses. These are their section numbers. Please create sections for these lecturers. So the publishers move forward. They create the sections. You would get an email from the publishing house saying, here is the link to your course for spring 2025. So I would suggest that if you have not yet received that email, you reach out to me. If you have, or may not have seen it during the Christmas break, please double check your email accounts to see if you have that information. And if not, of course, I can get you sorted out and set up.
Excuse me, Miss Cash. Apparently your slide is not moving. I don't know if you want to check something.
I'll share it again.
Yeah. Try to move it back or forward. Let's see. All right, so we're good now. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so here we are. This is where I was discussing the process. You would have heard when I spoke on point number 2 about lecturers setting up the courses. I mentioned that the bookstore issues access codes at the end of deregistration, which typically takes place 2 weeks after the first day of classes. In the interim, students are supposed to use a free trial access code, which lasts for 14 days. This means that once a student clicks the link that you will issue to them to access the material for your course, they will have an option to either enter an access code, purchase an access code, or utilize a free trial. They should be instructed to utilize the free trial access. As long as there are no delays with the deregistration process, the bookstore issues codes within the 14 days. If there is a delay, then normally we ask the publishers to extend the free trial access period. And so I would have spoken briefly about code distribution. Again, it happens at the end of deregistration. Chapter 1 would email all students enrolled in your courses their access codes. I know that quite a few of you would have reached out to me over the semesters that would have passed saying, you know, well, this student said that they didn't receive an access code, or I haven't seen this student log in. Again, you can feel free to email me and I would be able to forward the information to you and the student reflecting the code that is required to access the material. At the end of deregistration, once the bookstore issues the code, your student should have no further issues accessing the course material or the LMS. What are the benefits of using these access codes for students? There is a lowered cost for resources. Obviously, access codes cost about 30% of the cost of full textbooks, physical textbooks. The access code fee is covered by the government tertiary grant. I think at last check, there were about 90% or more of our students registered for that tertiary grant. And so quite a few of them are able to take advantage of this benefit. Students are also able to access more resources depending on what their lecturer allows them to view in the LMS. Students would have access to quizzes, PowerPoint, things of that nature that would assist with enhancing their academic experience. The material on the learning management systems are very easy to access and are available on multiple devices, cell phones, iPads, laptops. For lecturers, again, the management systems are very user-friendly. They assist you with calculating your gradebook. The gradebook is able to be integrated, like I would have mentioned, in with Moodle. You are able to issue, just as you are with Moodle, on the learning management systems, you are able to issue coursework and assignments that are linked to the textbooks. You are able to copy over courses from semester to semester. All students would have day one access. And of course, you as the lecturer would have access to all instructor materials. So faculty members, again, you can use your access codes. For course creation, this is the most important step. And like I would have mentioned, if you do not know how to create a course for yourself, or if you have not received an email from the publishing house, please reach out to me and let me sort you out, because there are some instances where lecturers are not listed on Moodle, or where there have been changes in the instructor to a course that I may not be privy to. So please do let me know if there is any form of an issue. The learning management system, like I said, also allows you to issue assignments and tests. There is also a discussion board component, and it allows for automated grading as well. And here is a list of my frequently asked questions. How do we determine which courses use access codes? Which means, who says, Ms. Cash, I would like to have an access code created for my course? Normally, the bookstore would receive a book order form that would inform the bookstore of a desire to convert from a physical textbook to an access code. We then reach out to the publisher to confirm the availability of that resource as an access code, and then we move forward with the conversion process. I should mention that the book order form is normally completed by the head of department and signed off by the chair and the dean of the department. That is required before we can move forward with making any adjustments to your course materials. Which courses use access codes? There is a list of courses that use access codes that is normally emailed to the university community prior to the start of every semester. That email should be going out for spring 2025 on Monday. However, on Chapter One's website, you are able to see or download a list of current access courses that currently use access codes at any time by accessing chapteronebooks.store/access codes. You'd notice in the screenshot that there is also a menu option for access codes right on the home page as well. I want a physical textbook. I understand entirely. And for the most part, as of last August, physical textbooks have been requested for every course that uses an access code and delivered to the respective academic unit. If you have not received a physical textbook from your academic unit, you may reach out to me directly and I can request a lecturer's copy from the publishing house, or you can request an instructor's copy of the textbook yourself through the learning management system. How do I contact you? My office is located in Chapter One bookstore. Things get a little hectic during the first week of the semester between lecturers and students popping in and me moving about dealing with my various areas. However, I will say that if you send me an email, I do my endeavor best to respond within one business day. And you can also reach me in office or on my mobile via the contact information provided on the screen. I do hope that you are all able to see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
if for some reason you are unable to reach me, my administrative assistant is Cleopatra Adderley. She is also stationed in the bookstore and can be reached via the information appearing on the screen now. And that is the end of my presentation. I will just go back to my contact information and I can entertain any questions that any of you may have.
Okay, I don't know if Mrs. Cartwright, Professor Cartwright would like to open up her mic, but she did post a question that I would read for you to give some commentary to. Go ahead.
Good morning. I have several questions. I'm wondering whether students can be issued temporary access codes. Specifically, I'm referring to Wiley Plus. because by the time deregistration is over, we're already almost we already have done tests, and some students have not been able to access the material. The reason being is for anatomy and physiology, it's a two-part course. If they use their UB email address, they cannot get access to the 2-week free trial. If they use another email address, when it comes time to issue the access codes, they're not on the list for access codes. We've had students up until week 7 or 8 not having access codes, and they've already been billed for it and paid for it. So is there a way that students can be issued temporary access codes, and then when deregistration comes, those become invalid, and then they're issued their permanent access codes? Because we have students who are missing out on work for literally up to more than 4 or 5 weeks every semester,
Okay, so you've said a
specifically
lot.
with Wiley Plus.
You've said a lot. So let me address your main question first. I am not aware of Wiley Plus issuing temporary access codes of any sort. What I am aware of is the 14-day free trial. This is the first I'm hearing that students are unable to access, you're saying, the free trial using Wiley Plus and their UB email address. So I'm going to have to address that with the publisher directly because I was not aware that that was an issue. Now, regarding students not receiving access codes or not, well, you said not receiving access codes from anywhere from 5 to 8 weeks during the semester, I don't see that as being possible unless there is an instance where a student was deregistered or I was not made aware. So what should happen is if a student does not have access to the resource, they should reach out to the bookstore, or you as the lecturer may reach out to me and say, Talia, what's going on? Here's a list of students who don't have access. And then I would be able to say, Dr. Cartwright.
We were in contact last semester about this issue with multiple students. So this did happen last semester. The issue is that what students are doing to get access to the 2-week trial, they're using a different email address because they cannot use their UB email address again because they've already used it for a previous 2-week trial. So when they go use their personal email address, Wiley Plus doesn't recognize it because it's not on the listing of their email addresses. So now we have to circumvent, and it's taking weeks for this to happen for those students to get access to Wiley Plus. And by that time, they've already missed out valuable assignments that they're going to be tested on. Yes, they eventually get access to it.
I'm just trying to understand the issue here. Is this a Wiley Plus customer service issue, or is this an issue where the access codes that they have been issued at the end of deregistration do not work?
Some of them were never. Some of the students never. There are a variety of issues. Some students are not issued access codes. Some students were issued access codes, but they didn't work.
Okay. So what I can do for you is I can reach out to Wiley Plus and address the issue of the free trial. I can do that for you. And then I would ask that you monitor at the close of deregistration which students receive versus which don't receive access codes, because we utilize Banner to give us a list. IT gives us a list of students enrolled in each course at the close of deregistration, and that is what is used to issue access codes to students. So if there is another issue of some sort, as long as a student is showing up in Banner as registered for your class, they should receive an access code from the bookstore. Now, that is not to say that there are not technical difficulties that occur sometimes, and we do our best to stay on top of it. But if we're not made aware that there's an issue, then there's no way that we could rectify it. So I will copy you in the email to Wiley, and let's see if we could get ahead of this issue prior to the start of the semester.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like to,
sorry.
Dr. Pinder wanted to actually ask a question, but before Dr. Pinder asks a question, Ms. Cash, I just want to say that it will also assist if you have the students who are facing these issues. Give us a call here at Open Learning. We assist and support in that fashion. Now, there is a procedure that has to be followed to access the 2-week trial. There has been some challenges with this, basically because Wiley Plus has a set of instructions on their portal that we were not supposed to follow, and we found out through trial and error after going back to them, because I think I worked with this with another professor. But there are steps that the students themselves would have to do in order to access that 14-day trial period. And once they follow the steps correctly, then they should be given access. Now, the part that I've not heard before that it is something new and I would like to be kept in the loop, Ms. Cash, is this: if you use your UB email address with another course, you can't use that email address with no other Wiley Plus products. That part I am not, this is the first time I've
No,
ever heard.
I don't think it's another product because we're using the same textbook again. The textbook is used in 2 consecutive courses. That's the issue.
Right. Oh, so
I don't
this
think
is
it's all Wiley
one
products.
student and 2 courses that you
No,
teach.
no. What
2
I'm
levels
saying
of
is
the
that
course.
we used the same textbook for 2 different
Same textbook.
courses.
Right, so I'm still not understanding where the conflict, is arising, and that's the part
That's what I
I'll
wanted
have
to,
find out from them.
Ms.
Because
Robinson.
it's a free trial for that textbook for 2 weeks. They're not going to give you another free trial for the same textbook
Textbook,
for
right?
2 weeks.
Yeah,
That's the issue. So it's like they're getting a 4-week trial for the same textbook because we use the same textbook in 2 different courses. That's the
Okay.
issue. And so
so
what
one
students are
course obviously
doing,
is not gonna have access to the Moodle anything because the students
no, I
can't get
can
it because they're
integrate
already
it.
in the other.
I can integrate it in the Moodle fine. That the issue is not Moodle
Right,
whatsoever. And the issue is not Wiley. It's just that for some reason it views it that they've already had a free trial. So they need to have a different account to have a free trial for that same textbook.
same textbook.
If
And
I
so what
may,
students are doing to circumvent it is that they're using their personal email
Personal.
addresses instead of their UB email addresses. That's where the issue is coming in.
just for further clarity, is this an instance where students are registered for both courses within the same semester? Or is this where I took a course, I took the first level in fall and I'm now taking the second level in
Yeah.
spring?
Yes, correct.
It's the latter.
The latter.
Okay. All right. So
Ms.
like I
Cash?
said, I'll reach out. Go ahead, Dr. Pinder.
Yeah, that is what I wanted to add clarity to, because we face a similar thing for CISB 106 and 206, where they use the one textbook for the theory, but it's separated into chapters. And so what should happen is if students are doing the courses consecutively, if they do it one semester and then they get into the level the next semester, they should automatically have access. It shouldn't be where they should have a temporary access doing the second portion, because I discovered that too with the computing class. But the problem is when students don't take it consecutively. It's like if they take a break and then they do it the semester after, that's where I was having challenges with them. So I think what needs to happen is that the publisher or the vendor needs to deal with that, where once they have access, then if they need to have that textbook for another time, they should just automatically get into it.
So the way our agreement is structured for those courses, for the CISB courses with Cengage, is that every semester we order 1-term access codes for all students enrolled. And so if a student took CISB 106 in the fall, they would be issued new access codes in the spring and should be issued new access codes in the spring. There are some instances where students' access would roll into the next semester based on the length of time that Cengage has provided. But when that happens, obviously, they'll lose access at some point during the current semester and would need to go ahead and register that new code. But again, if you face any issues of that nature moving forward, we all know that Cengage is very responsive. And so you can let me know and we could handle it from there.
And I think there was something else I wanted to add to that as well, even with the temporary access, because I found out with Cengage, is if the deregistration doesn't happen exactly the way we intend, and things happen, and
Mhm.
something just called life. What I do is I'm always in constant access with the representatives, and they will do an extension by a week. I have never, but I think the faculty has to be vigilant too, about these things, and then remind students. Like, I always make sure that I have one of my sessions where just the first half of that session, everybody has to get access to their textbook. And if we don't have everybody doing it, then that person and me stays on until we get them connected. Because the way I have the class structured, everybody has to move at the same, on the same race at the same time. So it really is on the faculty, and I keep track. If I see a student has not done their assignments, me and them they have to come to my office hour, or me and them have to have a conversation. So it really is, the faculty member really needs to be vigilant. And Dr. Cartwright, Mia, Mika, I'm not, saying that you aren't, but I think that the faculty member is a key person, and being in contact with Ms. Cash and Open Learning.
Learning.
Yeah, and they could tell you they familiar with me. I will email, I will call. They know. I make sure my class running the way it ought to.
Well, we thank you for your contributions in that regard, and I'm sure Ms. Cash will keep us abreast based on what the publishers have said with regards to this issue. That is now an issue because obviously students will need access to textbooks for this semester. So I'm sure Ms. Cash will expeditiously look into the matter. Are there any other questions or comments for Ms. Cash at this time?
Hello, good morning. Sometimes it's just a matter of students, their codes going into their junk mail. And so you have to have them look everywhere. They'll tell you they don't have it. And then when you tell them go back to their email that they would have gotten from chapter 1, all of the codes are right there. Because some of our courses require 2 textbooks, and one student will register for 1 text. And I'm like, did you register for the next text? Your name is not here. And so I'm checking both texts. And it's like, I can't find it. Go back to your email. And so they have it in their email because they may have 3 or 4 courses with codes, and they're overlooking the codes. So sometimes it's not a matter that they're not getting the codes. They're overlooking their codes in their email. So you have to check that with them also.
Yes, very good point. Thank you. Mr. Professor Alvin Hepburn, sorry.
Yes, just a quick question. When is the deadline? Ms. Cash, did all of the information for books and stuff to get the codes should be into your office?
Thank you for that question. We ask that codes for the fall semester are submitted by April 30th, and that requests for codes for the spring or books for the spring semester are submitted by September 30th. So April 30th for fall and September 30th for spring.
And if you don't have it in by then, is there any grace time?
I wouldn't say that there's a grace period, but we still do what we can to expedite shipping, etc. I will say that, or we'd be able to issue to the lecturers access to the ebooks. I will say that, working in a bureaucratic system, sometimes there are delays when it comes to payment and shipping and clearance. And so that is why we have set the deadline so far ahead of the start of the semester.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, at this time, if there's anyone else who would like to ask a question or make a comment with regard to e-textbooks, Chapter 1 bookstore, Ms. Cash is available.
Good morning.
Go ahead. Dr.
Hi, this
Davis.
is Dr. Ancelino Davis. I'm at UB North. And so I would like to know, like, what's the situation for us, or how do we get our textbooks, especially if we want a physical textbook delivered, and what is that process like, and how fast is the turnaround time?
Okay. Hi, Dr. Davis. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Good to see you.
You too. Okay, so your textbooks would have been sent to the academic unit here in Nassau. If you need a copy of the book, then you would need to reach out to them directly to find out if they have it on hand. It is my understanding that as faculty members change, textbooks should be returned to the academic unit and issued to the new lecturers. I'm not certain of whether or not that happens. But if there is an instance where the textbook is not available at that academic unit, I would need to know ASAP. Typically, to be comfortable, I would like requests for lecturer copies to be submitted around the same time as book requests are submitted. I will say that, for instance, today is January 2nd, school starts next week. If there's a situation where you need a physical textbook before class starts, it is highly likely that you will not have that physical textbook in time. What we would be able to do in the interim, though, is, like I said, get access to the ebook for you and work along with the publishers to see the physical textbook here in about 2 weeks.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
My next question is regarding the Moodle integration. And with all of these different groups, you said that you could set up your classes within their learning management system. Is that what you were saying? Or is it that they have content that you could integrate within our learning management system, which is Moodle?
I think the answer to your question is both, but I will allow Open Learning to respond.
Yeah, both and all of the above. So it really is publisher specific. Some of the publishers, for example, Cengage, have a complete learning management platform that you can set your class in with activities and assignments, etc. Others have activities and assignments that are not based in the learning management system as such, that then can be pulled into Moodle. In both cases, however, all of those activities, whether they be in a standalone learning management system like Cengage's platforms, or where the publisher just has content, both of those situations can then be integrated into Moodle. And we ask that wherever we have, as I said, we have integrations with presently 7 textbook publishers, and we are constantly increasing that list. We ask that these be integrated into Moodle because that provides the students with one-stop shop access all of their different learning materials. Let's say a student has a class where they're using one textbook from Cengage. They have another class that's using a Norton textbook. They have another class that's using a Wiley textbook. If they have to go and access each of those different learning platforms, it means that they got to have 3 different sign-ins. It just becomes a much more complicated procedure, whereby if we can get all the faculty members to integrate their textbook content into Moodle, Moodle acts like a clearinghouse or one-stop shop for all of their learning content. Does that answer the question, Dr. Davis?
Yes, I agree on the reduction of the cost of like the time switching between the learning management system and just the mental burden of both for the students and the faculty who have to switch between those learning management systems. So then my next question is, I really appreciate your Moodle videos. So your training videos that I took when I first got in. So
be sure to like and subscribe.
Okay, I will. I want to ask if you have created any videos like those specific to like Cengage, Pearson, on that are available to us so that we can go through that and make our streamlining as efficient as possible. And then if you have a class that has a textbook from different textbooks from different publishers, I feel like that would also be a little bit frustrating for students, especially new students as well.
That's all of those are excellent points. What I can say is that what we do have already published, and we will also do the same with these sessions, is we have the recordings of the training sessions with Cengage and Pearson and Norton already posted to the UB Moodle YouTube playlist. I will I will circulate the e-textbook trainings to you by the end of this session. And those will also include the recordings of the sessions that we're having over the next 4 days. I think, though, if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're hoping to see, and we will work on this semester, is these much shorter, like 10-minute training videos that target a specific point of using the Cengage platform, or a specific point of using the Pearson platform. And we will add that to our tasks for this semester to try and publish as many of those as possible, so that you don't have to sit through the full hour and 20 minutes training recording if you're just looking for a specific point using the Cengage session. Am I understanding you correctly on that one?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Something that's targeted, it's bookmarked. So you say, I want to know how to get my Pearson slideshows into my Moodle class. I want to know how to get my grade book from X into it. I think that's exactly what I'm looking for. Thank
Okay,
you.
so I will add that to our task list for the semester, and as they get published, we'll try and distribute the links. What we'll do is set up a whole playlist, like how we have one for the Moodle sessions.
Okay, thank you. Ms.
I think Dr.
Cash.
Hepburn has raised her hand, Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah, right before she begins, Professor Farrington in the chat, she says culinary 125 student section 1 was not able to use the code provided to them by UB in fall of 2025.
Okay. Good morning, Chef Farrington. Thank you for making that note. So I have a couple of questions related to that. My first would be whether or not you were able to have your course set up properly, or if the access code, if the code issue for the students took place when they submitted it into the platform, and did they receive an error? And then I just want to say that if there is an instance where there is an error with any access code that has been issued to students, because sometimes it happens, the publishers make mistakes, the bookstore makes mistakes. If there is an issue where students are trying to register codes, this is for the benefit of all faculty members on the call, and they receive errors, let us know right away, and we can jump on it, assess what the issue is, and reissue the access codes as soon as it is corrected by either the publisher or the bookstore itself. But you can go ahead and respond to the question, Chef Farrington, so that we can make sure this doesn't happen this semester.
May I ask a question at this point?
1 second, Professor Farley. Professor Farrington, are you available?
Chef Farrington? Open up, unmute your speaker, Chef Farrington.
Hold on 1 second.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, we did everything. Me and the student did everything, because this is not the first time that we're using a book online, and we just couldn't get it. So I just had to go with it and go back old school and use my book, my one book, for those students to use. And we had to do it, manually and do what have to be done. But we just couldn't get through nothing what was sent to us. We couldn't get through it, Miss Cash. We just couldn't do it, and we just couldn't. After midterm, we still couldn't get through, and everything that was asked of us, the student did, and we couldn't do it. So we just had to go back to what you normally do and go.
Okay. So can I ask that if this happens again in the future, if you could just take a note of my email address, and either you write to me or have the student write or visit me, so that I can rectify the matter for them, because sometimes it can be a very simple issue that is stopping the students from having access to the resource that they paid for. So you could reach out to me anytime anything like this happens, and I'll jump right on it for you.
Yes, and that book is interesting, that on cooking, the one that I'm using. And I think more than just the on cooking, a lot of the books in the culinary side has extensive chapters. So we go through the first 20 chapters, in CULN 125, and then it goes to 150, which is production. Then it goes to Gamma J and other classes. So I thinking they might need a code online for that book for the whole duration.
The On
Because
Cooking
it's
book
like,
is used for numerous courses, is what you're saying.
yes,
Okay, so I'll follow up with Dean Adderley just to confirm
yes.
and see if we can get those issued for this semester. If not, they'll have to be issued to the courses that they're not issued to in the upcoming summer or fall semester.
Thank you much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chair Farrington. Professor Tanya Lloyd Hepburn.
Yes, Happy New Year again to everyone. My question goes with integration into our platforms. I know our platform is Moodle, but since the pandemic, we've been using MS Teams a lot as opposed to Zoom for our videos and so on. Is there any integration of our learning management software and systems to be integrated into that platform, Teams?
Dr. Bethel.
Hi again, everyone. Hi, Dr. Hepburn. From our conversations with the FAIR's publishers, because Teams is not considered to be a learning management system, there is, generally speaking, and I'm just speaking across the board, typically not direct integration within the Teams platform per se. Really, the integrations work via one of two technologies. Typically, they use what we call LTI, learning. Well, let me not give the learning technologies interoperability. And basically what that means is that the software itself must, on both ends, both on the resource and on the LMS, must have that code written in. And at this time, Teams does not. The other one is by API, but very few of the platforms really publish or promote the use of APIs as an integration tool. So as a result, other than just providing embedding links, which is, I guess, possible, there are not any obvious ways to integrate the e-textbooks into Teams. Having said that, though, for all of our online courses, we are requiring faculty to use the school's learning management system, Moodle. So that if it is an online course or a hybrid course or a real-time course, we will be expecting you to be using Moodle. But we will, if you have a face-to-face course and wish to continue to use Teams to enhance that, we can explore ways that you can use Teams to integrate the textbook. But as I said, there are no straightforward, easily accessible integrations that are available.
All right, so I understand. So I can put my MATLAB on Teams, but could I put Teams on Moodle?
The short answer is yes. The longer answer is we have requested the Microsoft Office, and it won't be just Teams, it will be the whole Office 365 suite. Integration both from our Moodle provider and from the Office of Information Technology. And the reason is because integration is provided, but it's provided at a cost. So I will follow up on that for you to see where we are with that integration.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Professor Farley has a question. Go ahead, Professor Farley.
Thank you. My situation is, having listened to Mrs. Cash and all the others, is that I'm totally lost as to what's really been going on. I'm using a Wiley textbook, And what has been happening is that at the beginning of each semester, my course was more or less created, and basically I copied from a previous Moodle course into an existing course and made modifications. Now I notice this has not happened this semester. I'm wondering if that is deliberate.
I would say I don't think it's deliberate. Perhaps the publisher hasn't gotten around to creating the course for you, but that is something that I can walk you through, or I should be able to I can shoot you a step-by-step instruction on how to go ahead and copy the course for this semester. Now, you're saying that you copied the course in Moodle or in
Moodle.
In Moodle.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd say Mrs. Robinson, Dr. Bethel, or myself would be able to assist you with copying that over for this semester.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great question. We do have some videos on that as well, Professor Farley. Of course, Dr. Bethel would have created on course copying, so we'll try to get that to you as well. Okay, I just want to say thank you all for a very engaging session with Ms. Cash. Are there any other dying questions or comments? Go ahead.
Before we go, Mrs. Robinson, just to remind everyone, I have posted to the chat the link for the session evaluation form. Let me see if I can post it again so it's coming right up at the bottom. Please be sure to click on the link. The form should take no more than 5 minutes to complete to provide an evaluation for this morning's session. Thank you so much.
And I would just like to say to everybody once more, I am here, guys. I do know that it does get a little hectic in the upcoming 2 to 3 weeks, but reach out to me by email for any issues that you may be having or experiencing, you or your students. My email address is atalia.cash@ub.edu.bs. That is the best way to contact me. My cell phone number, which is for faculty, not our lovely students, but my cell phone number is 376-8635. Feel free to call. If I don't pick up right away, it is likely that I'm in a meeting. You can also WhatsApp me or I'll return the call as soon as I can. So with all of that being said, I wish you the best in this semester. Dr. Cartwright, Professor Farley, and Professor Farrington, I will reach out via email before the end of the day, and we'll see if we can rectify the issues that you're having as soon as we can. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Cash, for your time, your insight, and your services that you offer, and you do a great job all the time. So we say thank you. So again, there is a session evaluation link in the chat. If you would go ahead and click on that. And I guess, Dr. Bethel, I don't know if you want to start the recording, give me time to set up for our next session, which should only be about 30 minutes on App Savvy Teaching. So if you guys could just allow me 4 minutes to just set up, go ahead and complete the link. Click on the link in the chat to complete the evaluation for the first session, okay?
Sure thing. Mrs. Robinson, so you're coming up next?
Oh no, sorry, it's Dr. Bethel.
Yeah, it's me.
Right, sorry.
So,
Okay, yes.
So what I'll do is let's give everyone it's now 10:52. Let's give everyone an 8-minute break, and we can come back
makes sense.
At 11 o'clock. And my session is also 30 minutes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll come back at 11, and we'll go quickly through what to expect in Moodle 4.0 and other directions forward for open learning. Thank you so much, Ms. Cash, for your morning session. Please take advantage of the services of her department, and thank you so much for all that you have done so far. We really want to push this move to the e-textbooks. It makes everything so much easier, particularly if we can get it in a timely manner. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.